guy, he has like the #3 restaurant in the world. His name's Massimo Bottura in, I think it's #3, in Italy. Was it #3? Have you heard of him?
Oh, then no. Not as in Italy.
I think it was. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones in there. But he has this famous dessert, right? And he told the story of his famous dessert. And this is a really simple example to get, and then you'll see how this can apply to all these problems. They had very little lemon tart left, and somebody ordered the lemon tart, and his sous chef went to prepare the lemon tart. And when he was preparing it, he dropped it. And they had 2 plates, one that was good and ready to go out, and one that had just been dropped. And they just sort of looked at each other. And this is a restaurant where you pay like a grand a plate, right? So, you know, I ordered this. This is a grand a plate. I'm not going to get my dessert, right, at the grand a plate restaurant, right? And they had no other sorbet. And so the chefs just sort of looked at each other. And then the head chef, Massimo Bottura, said, okay, scoop that up. Don't take the part that, you know, hit the ground. Scoop it up and just throw it on the plate. And then they took the other one and they got a new plate and they threw it on the plate. And then they just put a little thing on there and they started to call it, oops, I dropped the lemon tart. And they presented it splashed and broken. And now that's like one of their most famous dishes at the #3 restaurant in the world.
Wow.
So they took a failure, right, and they turned that failure into a beautiful thing that now became one of their greatest successes. Because here's the thing that's amazing about this, right? When I think about this AR process, if it hadn't been this bad, I wouldn't have freaked out. Let's say it was 70, right? Maybe I wasn't freaking out as much. I wouldn't have even paid attention to it, right? But because it was so terrible, I made it better than it ever could have been. And I ended up making more on it in the long run than I ever would have before. So the greater the problems, do what?
And happier staff.
And happier staff. Yeah, as opposed to them running around frantic and, oh, they're just dying. Right now they have scripts, they have a process. But the greater the problem, typically the greater the strength. Dave Ramsey, that was a big, you know, mentor that I had for a long time. And his story is he went bankrupt in his late 20s. Bankrupt. He had $300,000 from real estate venture, had to default on it, and went completely bankrupt in his late 20s. And now he has probably the largest company helping people get out of debt. And they do, I think, like $150 million a year in sales. And he's like one of the most respected financial commentators for personal finance in the country. But that all started from a bankruptcy. So I've started to see the problems, even though they hurt and you still want to tense up and you still want to freak out, it's actually kind of like, holy crap, what if we could turn this sucker around to be like the source of heat on this company?